talking while being muted.
Oh my goodness. Oh, yes. And doesn't that, I mean, you're talking, you can hear yourself, but
Right.
um yeah. Abby Ritchie's show is for me, it's at 10:30. So I would probably put it at 1:30 Eastern.
Right.
And it is live, and she brings in guests, and they're on multiple screens. And I would say I grew up, as a 62-year-old, I grew up watching Abby. And then I started doing this. And I watched her show recently enough that I saw both of you on the show. I don't remember you talking while you were muted because I was just enjoying it. And everything in me said, but what is it? I mean, I want to see it. I want it demonstrated. I want to ask questions and go, so if you do this, could I do that? And you allowed me to do that a few days ago. The two of you
Right.
allowed me to watch what you had created. So instead of me talking about how much fun it was to watch Tech Tuesday with Abby Ritchie, I will ask you, what was it that I was missing there that you can show me today?
Well, today, we're going to show you the platform itself, and
Good.
we will tell you how the whole project started and what's behind the scenes with regards to the project. And it's interesting because the project itself began from my and Daniel's personal experience, and this personal experience was at the same time it was sad and enlightening. Sad because for me personally, when it happens when my mom passed away, and I came back. I'm from St. Petersburg, Russia, 25 years ago. So I came back to mom's funeral, and there was a lot of pictures, documents, and I didn't know too much about mom's history. I found out, and there was a reason behind it because my mom was a daughter of enemy of the state. So her father was imprisoned and then sent to Gulag and never got back. And my mom, she was afraid to tell about any of the family stories, basically until she passed. And a little bit before she passed, she got dementia. And I couldn't get any information, even though I wanted to. So when I found myself in the middle of little condo and surrounded by documents, that was sad experience. But enlightening experience was when I decided, as information technology person, we need to do something about it because my story is not unique. And when we met with Daniel, the idea became like real project, and the idea turned into the real business. And again, my story is not unique, and Daniel's story is also very important for this project because everybody involved, we're passionate about what we do, really passionate about what we do. So maybe Daniel, you can.
Yeah, absolutely. Thank you so much for sharing, Lev. I just wanted to check quick. Can everyone see my screen?
No, we can see you.
Okay, I'm sharing my screen. Just
Okay.
we've got the presentation as well, which Lev just shared. So
this is my mom.
Yeah, sorry. So this is the woman. This is the lady that Lev was referring to. This is his mommy, and as well for our whole team. this is a passion project, and like Lev, I've, our family story and history is different, but it is rich with history and some fascinating stories and people that we've met and adventures we've been on, well before me, but right up to including me and my daughter as well. And so you're seeing here on the left my parents, and in the middle my mother's parents, and then my father's parents on the top right. And I just remember as a kid, we have a very large family. Both my parents have a number of siblings, and we have tons of cousins and aunts and uncles, and again, so we're rich with stories every time we get together. And I remember as a kid, a lot of my parents are still around, but both sets of grandparents are gone, and many of my other great aunts and other, and some uncles and aunts have passed away. And so there are stories that we are missing pieces of. So I'm already experiencing this in my life, that we're missing some of our history. And every time we get together, these stories get shared, and they're incredible stories. And sometimes my parents have bits and pieces of the story, but then other folks in the family can complete the story with their perspective. So this is why this business became a passion project for me, is right away when Levi and I got together and started really, conceive a full product and build a business around this. I wanted our mission is to help people to avoid having to lose so many great stories. And so that's part of our mission, because we've both experienced that. And it's really a shame when these, incredible family history and personal history stories get lost. So that's why it's a passion project for me. And just a little bit about the company. You can see we've got a whole team all over the place. So we've got some people in the US, in Canada. We've got people in Australia, in Poland, in the Netherlands, in Turkey, and so on and so forth.
In Ukraine, yeah.
Ukraine as well.
And if your words about the team, the team was built, again, based on people's being passionate about our idea. Every single person on this slide, we spoke with them about what we do and what we want. And each of them felt really attached to this idea, really personally attached to this idea.
Yeah, absolutely. And everyone's got their backstory, like Lev and I have. And everyone, Christine and Scott, yourselves, and everyone else on the call, everyone's got a story that needs to be captured and documented and preserved, and then shared if you want to. So that's really our mission here.
This is so unique that you display, I'll say, grade school pictures or earlier pictures. I've not seen that anywhere else, and immediately helps me to realize that person isn't just existing right now as part of a company. Right. This person has a storyline and a lifeline coming to this moment. So I love that. That's the way I went and looked at that, and I was like, that's cool. That tells a story right there without even explaining.
Yeah, it's so true. We are just I think about my own life. We're just grown-up kids, all of us, and so we all have this incredible journey that we've been on. Good and bad and everything in between, and it makes us who we are today. And that journey is, again, everyone has their own unique journey, and then we intersect with our family and our friends and our communities in different ways and at different times. And it's just, there's an incredible rich wisdom and history and lessons learned and all kinds of things that we can store and document and preserve that make our individual and our family histories.
And you can see here, we are not getting old. We're just growing up, and we're just re-evaluating ourselves. And this is the idea, because we're not getting old. We're just, developing. still
further developing. Exactly.
further developing.
Awesome. So, Christine, what I wanted to do here is just really give us an idea, everybody an idea of exactly what we are, because we're talking. I think we're definitely in the storytelling and the life story sort of space, but really what we are is we are an age friendly. So as you can see, Lev and I are the two founders. We've got a whole team of folks that are across the spectrum. Right, in terms of age categories, we've got boomers on the team. We've got some, folks sort of in the middle, and we've got some younger folks on the team, and we all come together agelessly, if you will, to design and build the concept and build the functions and to create the system. Right, so we're age friendly, we're family focused, we're a storytelling platform, but we're purpose built for life story and for legacy and for managing the content that is digital that goes online. And what we wanted to do is create a digital sanctuary, a safe space, and a new category of digital media that we're calling personal media. It's a safe space for family and friends and communities to get together and own their content and build a rich, organized, structured life story, so that they can keep track of this, and it's for our users. Enjoy this. We have a number of users in the system now that enjoy the system and enjoy the process of building something meaningful and connecting meaningfully with people, but also creating a legacy during the process and something that we can leave behind to future generations. That's easy to manage and to navigate. So that's really what we are.
And we, Christine, we are not competing with existing social media, which is, as we call it, digital town square, right? Let's say nobody is trying to compete with Speaker's Corner in London in Hyde Park. People want to get, heard and heard publicly. Same thing with King Capsule. We are not competing with Facebook. We are not competing with LinkedIn. These platforms, they are for public exposure, and this is also natural for human beings to want to be exposed and to be heard. But we are indeed digital sanctuary, and we digital sanctuary by design and from the legal point of view, because the system terms and conditions include user ownership on information, which is one of the legal cornerstones of King Capsule.
Yeah, absolutely. So privacy, security, and just ownership of your own content is really important, especially for boomers, but for everybody, right? If there's sensitive content or very personal or private content, you don't want that, floating around in the ether in cyberspace. You want to have a safe, digital space that you trust, that you can create stuff.
Personal media and digital sanctuary. Both of those phrases are new to me. And I think you want to have an intimate conversation. And so you don't do it in a big echoey room where people are walking in and out and they can catch snatches.
Right. Exactly.
You want to, my grandmother, when she was 89, she handed me a shoebox. She said, "I know that you create these albums, these photo albums with all the decoration and doodads." And so for her 90th birthday, I spent probably 3 solid days and nights pulling out pictures of her 90 years and trying to figure out if that was the same city. I was like blurry on her 90th birthday. And I gave that to her. So it was private, it was intimate, it was an intimate moment when she gave me the shoebox. She enjoyed it herself. I gave her a couple of pens to write because all the pages were black and all the photos, half of them were black and white, half were colored. And so I gave her silver and gold so she could write on those pages, because I gave her lots of blank space and I put lots of colors around the pages and little stickers and stuff. And she enjoyed that for 8.5 more years. And that book continues to pass around the family. But once in a while we say, who's got the book? Do you have the book? And that is a solution. That's a problem that KinCapsule provides an instant solution to, but a lot more. I know, because we've talked before, that there's a whole lot more there that you're about to present than putting together pictures and typed content.
Yeah, absolutely. And Christine, your grandmother, she was lucky because she has you, and she has someone to pass all the photos and documents over to. KinCapsule has the functionality and legal framework of succession. So once the user creates the account, there's a functionality that allows to assign the successor to all the digital content of KinCapsule. So it's not getting lost in cyberspace forever. It stays, and even if someone has nobody to pass it over to, this person can assign it to church, to archive. So there's succession path that allows the user to be sure that the content is not lost.
Yeah, it's a great point as well. And I just wanted to point out too that you can be as the whole premise. Well, one of the cornerstones of KinCapsule is that you can be as social and or as private as you want, and you can separate the two. Right? We view ourselves as sort of the healthy part of digital media, right? Where you can separate. Human beings are naturally very private, but we're also very social. So it's nice to have both combined or both separated, and in the safe, appropriate spaces that are consistent with who we are by nature. And so that's what we've really done, is we've created a space that mirrors our natural humanity in both our private and our social aspects. So that, and we've already kind of talked about this, so we can get to the presentation very soon. Basically, we've talked about these problems. We've mentioned a few of them, but especially now, people are more active in their retirement. Families are more separated, migration, empty nesting, and these are all causing, there's a social divide like we haven't seen before, particularly coming out of COVID. Digital inequities. There's not a lot of technology that's built with accessibility and with the aging community in mind. Right. And then, of course, there's digital shortfalls around functionality. There's not a lot of controls and privacy and content ownership. So those are digital shortfalls that are causing, these stories to go untold. And then, of course, there's mental health, particularly dementia and Alzheimer's. And so this is what we see as the big issues driving this social disconnect and stories going untold. And so as a result, at the bottom, you can see here, we're losing this personal, anecdotal perspective of human history. And which leads us to, we all know that the Surgeon General came out with a big statement last week, I believe, in the last few days, and around this epidemic of mental health and loneliness and isolation. And that is ageless too. That's across the spectrum. But So there's a huge effort and push and focus right now on social connection and on combating isolation and loneliness. And then we'll take it one step further. When, you know, our users, ourselves included, but when people self-reflect and self-explore and self-author and create and go back and create their life story, it really helps to ignite and uncover and unlock passion and purpose too. And so we were, you know, not thrilled that there's an epidemic happening right now with this stuff, but thrilled that people are seeing this and it's consistent with the mission that we're on too. And so there couldn't be a better time for us to be with you today, Christine, and with the folks on the call to share how we are going to be a digital layer of the solution to this problem.
Agreed. Being able to use anything digital, technical, shouldn't be an exclusive club. It shouldn't be, you know, we're over in this area and you're over there and haha, you know, stick our tongue out. You know, it's like, you don't even know what we're talking. We've got our own language and we have our own, you know, way of doing things. And if you start to enter, you know, you actually have people in mind, actual people, not a demographic, not a, you know, a snapshot of society.
Right.
You actually have people on your team who can say, I want my loved one to be able to use this freely and enjoy it. You were talking about that they're just enjoying it.
Right.
And I just feel that becomes richer. The personal engagement in putting something like this together just becomes deeper and wider and mitigates that feeling of I'm alone.
Right.
My life is getting narrower and narrower. Instead, it's like, wow, I'm able to stand here and look out over the landscape of my own life and realize how many different ways myself and my nearest relatives and even beyond have contributed, impacted, enjoyed, you know, made a change. You know, we're part of the infrastructure of Canada, of Russia, of Poland, of the United States, whatever it is. It's just like, I have a lot to be excited about here. And I will simply say I served as a hired in-home caregiver in a private home where a guest room, and I'm very careful not to expose anything, a guest room had huge wall hangings that had been handwritten, tracing back generations that someone had worked on. And there they were, and they were a little bit discolored from probably what they were in the past. This person had really gone back, and it's like, great, fantastic, worthy of hanging in honor, but Kin Capsule can bring even more.
Absolutely. No, and that's a great context there. And thank you for sharing, Christine. But absolutely. So with that, you know, we've already talked about this. You know, part of what we want to be, I'll just highlight a couple things here on the top right of the screen. You know, again, like we said, we're the healthy side of digital media. We're the lean meat and vegetables, if you will, of digital media, right? Social's great, but if all you're doing is social, that's like eating chocolate bars all the time. They're delicious, but you need to serve the meaningful and personal side of digital media as well. And you can see at the top things like reminiscence therapy, right? So this is a solution that families can get involved. They can all sign up and be visiting with loved ones. And if it's dementia, for example, this reminiscence therapy, so having your loved ones remember things or try to remember things and tell stories, this is really great for mental health. It's great to for mental exercise, and it's therapeutic, and it can help to stimulate brain activity. For those who have suffered trauma or PTSD, there's narrative therapy. So going back and reconnecting and putting the pieces of your life back together can be extremely therapeutic. Right? Grief therapy. The whole reason we've made a commitment to privacy. So we don't sell any personal information. We don't share any content that you've made. In fact, we've made the system so that not even we as a company can access your account. It's completely a sanctuary for yourself of privacy if you want the privacy. And that way you can, if there's deep things that you want to confess or grief, you can put those things in. And those are a real aspects of your life story. Life is great, but it's not always good. There's good and bad and ugly in life, in all of our lives. And so being able to tell the whole story is incredibly important and can be therapeutic. And, you know, the other ones, narrative therapy for depression and cognitive training and brain stimulation, just so important. So we again, we're ageless. We're for everybody. Doesn't matter who you are, where you are. This is a solution that's probably beneficial for you, but there's different ways that we can be used as well.
And these are not applications that we, fantasizing about. These are result of our conversations with specialists in respective areas. So it's what they said, that in-capsule could be really strong therapeutical tools for these kind of mental conditions.
Yeah, absolutely. Great. Well, I will get out of this presentation and quickly jump into the solution itself. I'll just pause quickly, Christine. Is it okay? Should I just jump right into the system here, or did you have any other comments or questions?
You know, I'm looking at the time and I'm going, good. I am glad that I'm actually using my mute for the first time during these live shows that are every Wednesday, noon Eastern, and Eastern is where both Lev and Daniel are. They're Canadians, and I am so grateful that I'm able to cross the border quickly and go visit them and have them do this. I'm going to say, take it away, Daniel and Lev.
All right. Awesome. Okay. So what you're seeing now is it's a demo account. We've created a fictitious character named Gail Smith. But I will say that this account is modeled after someone who actually lives in a retirement community in senior living. And we modeled this demo account after the way she has created her and structured her life story. So what you're looking at now is the homepage. So Gail, we've come in and we've logged in at kincapsule.com. So for anybody listening, you can go and sign up for a free account at kincapsule.com right today. It's already ready and in the market. And this is when you log in, this is what you see. This is the homepage. So just some landscape here. If you follow my mouse moving in the middle to the left, so you can see Gail Smith at the top left. And this whole panel here is the module panel. So you can see there are a number of modules that you get with KinCapsule. And we'll explain and look at each one and talk through how they work and what, and sort of, all the functions that come with it as well. And then on the right-hand side, you're seeing the dashboard view or the visual representation of all of these modules. And starting with here, you can see the calendar. It's exactly what it looks like. It's a calendar. There's a built-in organizer, and it's attached to a journal and a diary as well. In the middle is Connect. You can see think of this as your timeline or your internal billboard, showing all of the stories that you've shared. So private ones will not show up here. They'll be in your and what we'll show you in a minute in capsules. But all the shared content shows up on the timeline, and it's stories that you've shared and stories that have been shared with you by your contacts. And then just very briefly in the bottom right, you see profile. It's very much like any other profile you've seen. We'll show you one key element in the profile that Lev talked about, the succession. Studio, this is where the magic happens. This is where we're building and creating our stories and our content. And then here above Studio Network, I'm simply managing my contacts. So again, we can be private, but we can also be social and connect with people. And then capsules, this is very important. Think of these as folders or filters. So if you're saving content, these are the folders that you will save into. And if you're going back to look for an old story that you want to find, then this becomes your filter as well. So I'll just go down to the bottom right and click Open Profile. And we're going to see Gail's profile here in just a moment. Again, this is our demo environment. So just you'll see some delays here. It's all good. The live version won't do that. But you're seeing here. So here's Gail. This is a high-level snapshot, right? She can see her stories here, right? And I can launch these stories right from here. If I want to filter by events, life events, and that I want to check, I can do that as well. You can see here. But what I want to really show you here is edit profile. And this is the succession. So top right corner here, you see I'm just hovering around successor. So I just have to click this quickly. And as you can see, I can pick anyone I want to be my successor. And what will happen is through a succession or a series of succession events, the successor will then inherit the account when the time is right, based on a few things that you'd fill out. But in Gail's instance, she has picked Saul Smith, and Saul is her son. So it's that easy. We are building out further legal framework around succession, but this functionality exists today in the system. And again, Saul, when the time comes, will inherit this account, and it will absorb into his own account as well. And I'll keep moving, just for the sake of time, I'll keep moving forward. So that's what we wanted to show you in profile. Let's go up to capsules, because this is really where the journey first starts. And what you're seeing here is the capsules. Again, think of these as your folders. And so what Gail's done is, if you see me, let's start here with my baby life, for example. Gail decided that she wants to create a chronological account of her life. So she started with my baby life, childhood, teen life, high school, college. She went to work, started dating. We've all got crazy dating or funny dating stories. She's got all these saved in her dating profile, dating capsule or folder. Then she got married, had kids and family. So everything is really nicely organized. Pets, even all the pets that she had throughout her life, they each have a subfolder that's specific to each pet too, right? Or soundtrack of my life. She's got all of her favorite tunes here by decade, right? So if I click on here, I can see here's some different. I can organize it by the era as well. And then, for example, another example, this might be travel. So Gail's done quite a bit of traveling. And so you can see she's got these organized by continent first. And then we can dive in deeper, and we can go by country if we want. And even if we click again, we can even look at the city. So again, if you're having memory issues, all you need to do is remember the trip or the content that you want to look at. And say, remember that trip 40 years ago when we went to Spain and we visited Madrid? You won't have to look for a needle in a haystack of content. You can just go right to your Spain folder, and all of your content will be right there waiting for you. So these are just some of the ways. Now, here's another fun one, family recipes. We've all, in my family for sure, we have a big family, and we've got recipes scattered all over the place. And now what we've done is, like Gail has done, we've created one folder for this, and we can store everything in one spot, and it never gets destroyed or lost. And we can keep it here and share this stuff with our family and friends if we'd like to as well. And the final one I'll show you here is, for example, there might be some very personal stuff, right? You can see here, Gail's got confessions. She's got a safety deposit box. She has her bucket list in here too, right? And then here's one interesting one here. So the real woman that we modeled this after has these categories. So she's got all this wisdom and advice that she can share through her experiences. And she's got it organized by health, professional, relationships, financial, etc. And we can open up health, and she's got mental, physical, emotional, spiritual health. And for her, it was breast cancer and arthritis. Those were the big ones. So she's got these great video stories that she's created herself to tell her story, how she navigated these difficult, challenging times. And now it's stored and safe forever in an organized place for her as well. So that's how the capsules work. So now that we've created capsules, so what I will just remind people is that these are custom made. So you make these yourself. You can create your own structure in capsule. It can be chronological. It can be by family member. It could be by any way that you want to create it. You can do that. And you just have to click this button here, create new capsule, and you can create any category or folder of your choice. So now that I've got the capsules, the next part is now I'm ready to make some content. So I can type my story here. So I can give it, maybe it's my, let's just call it test for now. So I can type my story here. If you're the type of person that you likes typing and you're more text driven, you can do that. But I can upload photos and videos. So any old videos or photos that you have, you can upload into a story. And let's say you have a story with 5 or 10 pictures that happened a long time ago, and you want to thank your friends or family members who were on this trip and do a quick recount of the story. You can do that. But the pictures are great, but they don't tell the whole story. So what we can do is on the right-hand side here, at the top, you see audio recorder. So I can actually record a narration for those pictures and add an audio layer that brings the pictures to life, right? So you can say, hey, family or friends, this trip was amazing. What you didn't know is in the first picture, this is what's actually happening. And we can bring those pictures to life. Or we can just click on this recorder here, the video recorder. And you just click on the recorder and it fires up the video and you can start recording right from in the system. So all of these tools are in the system ready to use. What we didn't want people to have to do is toggle between devices to find different functions. So we've created everything in the system. On the bottom, so now that we've got our pictures up, and you can have a single story with multimedia. You can have video, still pictures, audio files, text files, whatever you want, and any combination that you want. So once I have my content here, you can see at the bottom right here, I'm circling, I can set the story date. So today's the date that I created the story, but let's say this story happened in 1969. I can say, here's when the story happened. This is going to help me create chronology for my life. So that's a 1969 story. Then I come back down here. Where did it happen? Right. I can pick any location I want. Let's say it's in Buffalo, New York. Why not? Here's Buffalo. Here's the story. So I'm going to pin it on my map. Select the capsule. So where do I want to save the story? Let's say this was a childhood memory of mine. I'm going to go to my childhood folder and save it there. Or I could go to my travel folder and put it in Buffalo if I want. And then I'm going to select if I want recipients. So you don't need to select any recipients. This could be a very personal story that you don't want to share ever, or you just don't want to share yet because you're not sure if you want to share it. But if let's pretend, or let's assume that I'm going to pick some folks. I have all my contacts here. So let's pick my best friend, Humphrey Bogart, and Charlie Chaplin. And let's include Nina. Why not? So here we are. So I'm going to pick those. Now let's say the person is a part of the story and they don't have a KinCapsule account. Right here, I can add an email too. So this is a great way to invite and give a nudge your friends and family to create an account so that you can start sharing stories back and forth. So I could put in an email here, just type it out. And this is going to send them a notification saying that there's a story waiting in your account once you create the account. And once the person creates the account, this story is waiting in their account for them, which is really cool. So I'm going to click OK. And so now I'm ready to save and share. And the final piece here is, when do I want to share it? So I may not want to share it right now. Let's say I'm at the beginning of the year and I've got 20 family and friends birthdays that are very close to me, and I want to send everyone a meaningful video message, or share stories at specific times throughout the year, birthdays, anniversaries, or whatever the date represents. I can take one afternoon and create a bunch of stories and set it and forget it, and I don't even have to think about it or remember it, which is nice. Or let's say, unfortunately, Gail has a terminal illness. She's not going to be around for her for her grandkids' 16th, 21st, 30th, 50th birthday. Gail can have peace of mind and start creating really meaningful content and stories and have them sent out well after she's already passed on as well. So she can have peace of mind that she'll continue to be in touch with her family for years to come. So I could set this for later and put 100 years from now if I want. And who knows who will have where the content will be, but it will not be forgotten or erased. It will still be out there. And so these messages can continue to come out whenever you want. But for now, let's say now, and I'll save. And you'll see it's going to bring us to our billboard or our timeline, connect. And you can see we just created the story here. So here's the story. And that's exactly how you create the story. Those controls are not necessary. You don't have to include them, but they're there if you want to use them. So let's go to KinMap quickly here. We can look at our whole lives. So I can create an account for myself, for my kids, for in-memory accounts for relatives who've passed away and you want to create a nice legacy for them. You can look at someone's entire life in the map view. And you can see here, Gail's whole life is on the map here. And look on the right-hand side. Here's all the stories that we've created. So and you can see those will change as I zoom in on different parts of the world. So here's anything in view here, all these little pins. You'll see them on the right-hand side here, and we can toggle through. But we can also look at the stories and launch them right from the map. And what was mom or grandma or grandpa or brother or whoever it is, what were they doing in Ireland? Well, that's where mom got the famous chicken soup recipe. And we can launch the story and check out the whole life in a really fun way from the map. Just two more things, and I think we can, and that will complete the demonstration. If the next part was the diary as well. So we talked about the organizer. So here's the calendar, right? So this is a standard calendar in terms of its function, but you can see at the bottom center of the screen, I can type with meet with Christine, right? That might be my to-do list, my to-do for the day. And I can, once I can add as many to-dos as I want, and I can cross them off as I go. And then right above here, you're seeing is the diary itself. So some people like to write their diaries. We can type it out. Maybe there's some pictures or videos that are relevant to this diary entry or this journal entry. And, or we can just do an audio. So if you want to dictate your journal or diary entry, you can do that, or you can use the video recorder as well. So you can have a video library of your diary and journal entries, or a combination of multimedia. So it's really up to the user what they want to do. And I'll come back to Capsule just to show you, when you save the diary entry, it shows up. You look in the top right corner here, you can see here's the diary capsule. So everything, you can see Gail's got quite a few diary entries here. Her whole life of diaries are right here. And so this is great for herself, but also when she passes this on to future generations, they can go through the diary and see all these incredible, very personal stories that their relatives or their friends created for themselves as well. The final piece I want to show, Christine, is based on feedback we got from our users to complete the life, the life story and pieces of family history. We included a family tree that you can create as well. It's really easy to, you can see here, here's Gail, and it's as easy as just clicking. You can add additional family members and so on, but really easy to use. And again, the feedback we get is as you're building your family tree, you're thinking of, it kind of nudges you to connect with people in your family to understand if there's any stories or pictures or anything at all that you want to include for these folks in your family. And it makes you think of stories as well. And these could be funny stories from your childhood or from any part of your life. Again, this just helps to stimulate memory and to create a whole life story for yourself as well. And that's Kin Capsule in a nutshell.
In a capsule, kind of like a time capsule.
In a capsule, exactly.
Just last evening, I was having a mango avocado salad. My husband was having a curried soup. I think it had chicken and there was rice on the side. And what were we talking about? Our dads. And how there were some similarities. There were several little things. They both happened to be at the same army, post. They both went through Fort Ord here in the States. But what we were talking about was that they both had done some recording on reel-to-reel tapes.
Oh, wow.
Or maybe I should do it this way. Reel to reel. That's nope. They have to go the same direction or it's all mangled. One had an interest in playing the banjo. One was more towards playing a stand-up bass and brass instruments. Both of them in their younger years, I would say, around 19 or 22 years old, were both singing in quartets. And we have those photographs. And I believe my husband said something like, what would we have today if they both had, archived live stream shows, YouTube channels? What would they have expressed, even if they kept it completely private and then allowed us to have access so that we could just go back and see when we wanted to? Right. I think my husband still has in his office the reel-to-reel machine, the player. And so there I get the big smile. Lev was saying at the very beginning, I didn't know. So there was so much that I didn't know about my mother that was taken by the end of her life, was taken by dementia, and was also taken by her urgent feeling of, I need to keep this private. He was talking about father in prison, gulag, enemy of the state in Russia, all these just, things that just go through you. I mean, that when he first started talking about that, it just went through me that she didn't know that there was a safe place that she could pass along just any information. I shouldn't even call it information, just thoughts and things that were important, things that she treasured in her heart. She didn't know what she could express and that it would be kept, carefully. I just, it just hits me all directions. Then I go in the other direction. I have a daughter who's interested in social media, in starting some shows, and how I could actually use Kin Capsule to keep some information, whether it was, one capsule that says, passwords to get into my stuff.
Absolutely.
Things that I forget all the time and I need to access, and also to throw some things in there and decide, no matter how healthy we both are in 5 years, this is what people say. What would you say to your past self to you as a child? Or what would you want your great grandchildren to know, even if you don't expect to be able to say that? And it's like, it's just now, it's just encapsulated. This moment, it's important for me to say, I'm so excited that you are starting a show about something that's important to you, but you see it as important to other people, and throw in a few snapshots. It's the sort of thing, wherever in the world my phone is, I think it's in my purse, that I will see popping up on my phone. Oh, here are pictures of some things that you did. And I always think, boy, do I have to be careful what I've taken pictures of. Someone else is touching those,
Right.
whether I can't even get into that's being done automatically or in a little electrical room somewhere, in somebody's basement, all these things that people fear. How wonderful to scan actual photographs and keep those in a place so you're just ready to just celebrate my love this moment for this person that maybe I haven't even met. And that might be my great grandchildren, and just, I'm glad you exist. I can't imagine what your life is right now, but I can give you an opportunity to know me at this age. When you're 63, I wonder if there will be some similarities to me as a 63-year-old going, my world is so much bigger because I got to know Lev Gorman, and let me tell you a little about him. So it could be audio, video, I can take a snapshot of this, I can put in a piece of today's recording. Oh my goodness, so I just deep emotions. And I'm just going to say that was really good that a lot of social media is chocolate bars, and I love chocolate, and enough is enough. Give me the broccoli. In fact, I even recorded something about brain broccoli.
Right.
And to Kin Capsule, absolutely applauding. You said at the beginning what most people think about at the end or wish they had thought about earlier.
Right.
And that is, who does this pass to? Who takes over? If I am simply in the midst of cancer infusions, or I'm gone, I'm in Central America for 3 months helping out in a situation there, who has access? Who can make sure that this life, that things stay alive here? It isn't just end of life. It is also that life gets complicated and someone else can step in and keep the momentum going. I'm so glad that you presented that at the beginning. You get to designate, you get to select a delegate that you are bestowing this upon. It is a treasure. It's a lot deeper than the candy bars on social media of what are they doing? How many squirrels have they seen? What color are their fingernails? And what are they, what are we supposed to be upset about today? Politically speaking or something, somebody tell me what to be upset about. It's like, I like this. This is my kind of stuff.
Absolutely. And you know what it is? It's again, we're not knocking social, because social's great for that. That's what they're built for. But it's nice to have the balance, right? It's nice to have the balance. A non-competitive, non-opinionated, this is all about you and or your family, and it's just wholesome, kind of values-driven, historical, looking at yourself, and it's doing both. You have those voice because that's that, and it's also part of that personal aspect that's more meaningful, more authentic, and more for you. It's your own sanctuary. That's why we call it a sanctuary. So you get, if you have both, then you have that digital town square where you can have your voice heard and your opinions shared. and you can have likes and comments and all that stuff that you want on social. And then on personal media is where it's that more private, more personal, more meaningful, more authentic, more intimate sort of digital sanctuary space that you can, and you have both. And so we're not competing or replacing anyone in the digital media space. We are just adding some healthy balance. That's all.
And Christine, you know what? Really good point here, because personal story in history, it has two ends, receiving end and sending end. We receiving stories, information, let's say from our predecessors, and we creating our story as a part of the story of the family of time, and we passing it over. So we also receiving end and sending end at the same time.
I love it. Before we finish up, this was so different than all the ones that I've done previously. It very rarely has something been shown on screen unless, somebody picked it up. And I just thought this is so ageless. There are a lot of people who are just like, don't say old, or I finally have fallen upon persons of longevity. Well, being a person of longevity, you can't be certain of your future, but you have a lot of certainty in your past that you certainly want to keep. And that's why I invited both of you to come today to Aspects of Aging for Aging Better Network. And am I correct? Kin Capsule, so KIN, kincapsule.com, and it will bring people to where they can learn more and actually meet with you guys. Actually, find out, do you have, how is this encrypted? Where would I, what about those recipes? I could take a picture of my own handwritten journal and take a picture and put it in there, and you get to say, yes, 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 yes.
Absolutely. Yeah. So contact at kincapsule.com. So that's sorry. www.kincapsule.com.
And for some reason, your frame is freezing. So Lev, you look like you're still animated. What was he saying?
So
there we go. Sorry.
The website itself.
Oh, sorry. Go ahead.
The sign-up page is www.kincapsule.com. So you can create your account. If you want to know more about the project itself, it's the same www.kincapsule.ca. If you want to get in touch with us, you can just email us, contact@kincapsule.com. And we'll get in touch with everybody who wants to know more. And also, we have a lot of content on YouTube already with all the instructional materials how to use KinCapsule.
Contact@kincapsule.com is the way to get a hold of you personally.
Mm-hmm.
Yay! We are truly at the end. I'm so thankful. My hubby producer, D. Scott Smith, motivational listener, is going to put that picture up on the screen. And I am so grateful to both of you. Thank you, Daniel. Thank you, Lev.
And thank you for having us.
Thank you for having us.
Absolutely. Oh, I'm so grateful that it worked. Hooray, we can share screens.